What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ryan, and this is the Thunder Channel on Nootropics. Remember, every shred of information we put on this channel is brought to you by a couple of products. What supports this broadcast, my friends, are the following nootropic products. Number one, the Cortex Nootropic Stack. I mean, look, this is a stack that I built, was taking myself to run a company 18 hours a day. It's just awesome for motivation, mental energy, verbal fluency, productive drive. It is called Cortex. It is an elite level nootropic stack. And right now at livecortex.com, it is 20% off using the coupon code 20. Go get some Cortex. Now, if you're looking to take your nootropics usage because you're in a year or 2 years or 3 years to the master class that is defined as the 6-year mark where people stack differently, get better results, then you have to watch the Nootropics Masterclass. It's a video course designed to teach you that. Also, 20% off livecortex.com. If you're brand new to nootropics, listen, this is where you have to start. I created a video called Nootropics Ground Zero, which is the baseline video that you've got to watch with all the major concepts to understand how to start using nootropics. That is also a video course and also 20% off at livecortex.com. Last couple things. Look, if you're a guy, you need to raise test. No other better protocol proven by our clients than the Viking Testosterone protocol. Go to livecortex.com, add it to your cart. We'll be in contact with you soon to do the first call to sort of fact find, and then we will get you a tailored protocol for test. Also, 20% off livecortex.com. Last thing, if you need more comprehensive, larger scale nootropics consulting, we got a bunch of different packages ranging from a 40-minute call with me to a 1-month intensive to a 3.5-month intensive nootropics consult, all the way up to a 6-month intensive. Depending on your budget, find what fits for you. For hardcore work on fixing issues like PSSD or dopaminergic dysfunction from Adderall use, you really have to go with either the 1 month, the 3.5 month, or the 6-month option. Check all that stuff out at livecortex.com. All right, so I want to talk about something really cool around phenylpiracetam. And this is essentially a questionnaire study that I did with 35 people that we're doing consulting with, ranging from kind of one-off 40-minute consults to 3.5 month or 6-month consults on phenylpiracetam. You know, it seems to be the case when folks start experimenting with racetams that usually they tend to get better responses from certain racetams over other racetams. I mean, it's just based on kind of the chemistry of their brain and whatever they might need at the time. You know, if you're needing a little bit of AMPA receptor modification, atoracetam seems to work well. If it's strictly cholinergic and you kind of need a more efficient uptake of choline into neurons for acetylcholine synthesis, tends to be coliracetam. But for other people that might need a little bit of very mild dopamine reuptake, as well as some cholinergic function facilitation, phenylpiracetam seems to be the best. So this is what we did. Out of 35 people experimenting with phenylpiracetam over other racetams, I was able to successfully induce positive mood changes and the inclination to communicate. So like the kind of the inclination to be verbally fluent, or, you know, maybe in kind of layman terms, that might be just sort of wanting to be chatty, in 23 individuals once the dose was refined. So what that means is throughout the time that I was sending questionnaires out to these people on their responses and examining the responses, we were refining the doses. So it wasn't initially that we had gotten them to respond successfully in a positive mood capacity and a communication capacity. It was only after we refined the dose for certain people. So, you know, we would start at 100 milligrams, move up to 125, move all the way up to 250. And usually folks were kind of in the 100 to 150 milligram mark where they reached this point, but there were a couple people that just required higher doses, and for some we actually got up to 250 on phenylpiracetam. Now I want to make this clear, I'm not going to include the choline data, but for the majority of them there was low dose CDP choline involved in kind of my like mini study here. So once the doses were refined, we actually got 23 people to respond successfully in a positive mood change capacity, okay, which is critical because some other racetams don't necessarily do that. It might just make you function better in a memory capacity. Once the dose on phenylpiracetam was refined, okay, pretty awesome stuff, and more than likely related to its mild dopamine reuptake activity. which is present in one of the patents on phenylpiracetam, something available and Googleable. Other interesting elements of those 35 people and their responses to phenylpiracetam were that 3 individuals reported mild cognitive enhancement, and then 5 individuals reported effects that were comparable to placebo, which means they really couldn't tell if the compound was affecting them in any positive way or negative way. It was just kind of like, I don't know. I sort of feel okay. I sort of feel a little more functional, perhaps a little bit more chatty, but I cannot differentiate that from my normal state and my expectation of this nootropic, which, led those people to believe that there was something placebo related happening, or the effect was comparable to placebo. Now, as an aside, in my opinion, usually with nootropics, when you're modifying neurotransmitters pretty definitively, your idea of placebo is usually the nootropic working for you, but we all know that the placebo effect is a real thing. So I guess that's something to keep in mind. And then there were 4 individuals, which I kind of grouped together, that reported either nothing, like absolutely discernibly nothing, or side effects being overstimulated. Now, I know those look at like super great numbers for phenylpiracetam, but the critical thing to understand is that these people were working with me in a very kind of hyper communication capacity. We use the platform Google Documents to communicate with people aside from phone calls on larger consults. And there's a comment system in there where we're hyper tracking progress and then modifying doses based on people's responses. So it wasn't initially that we got like a large percentage of these people to respond positively in a mood changing capacity to phenylpiracetam. It was only after multiple iterations of dose changes, and in some cases removal of things from people's diets that might have been inhibiting general dopamine function or increasing serotonin function, which would also inhibit dopamine function. It was after some adjustments, mostly on the dose of phenylpiracetam, that we were able to reach this position. What does this tell us? What it tells us is, generally speaking, phenylpiracetam does seem to be the racetam that induces positive mood benefits more than other racetams for a considerable amount of people. I mean, if you extrapolate that out, the data would probably look the same if you were modifying doses and continuing the experimentation process until all resources were exhausted and you were adjusting correctly with a methodology or something. And that generally, if you're somebody that is trying to get yourself to respond to anything, and of course, definitely phenylpiracetam, the chances are you're going to have to adjust the doses to find out which dose you respond to. What also seems interesting about the whole thing is that we were only suggesting very, very low doses of CDP choline, 40 to 50 milligrams in everybody. Okay, so nobody in that 35-person kind of survey where I sent out questionnaires and asked people and then was working with them and analyzed their comments, nobody was taking any more than a bioavailable choline source than 50 milligrams, and it was CDP choline every time. Now, a lot of people had beef and meat and fish in their diet, eggs in their diet, so they're getting choline to an extent. But I'm not confident enough that tells us much of anything related to choline. I mean, we know most people respond to lower doses of it. But I guess it's just sort of something to think about. So I'm working on a couple more experiments and asking folks questions and trying to, after refining doses, discern which compounds do certain things for people so that we can get some sort of like a little more of a granular look at what's going on so that general recommendations can be made to target certain mental states with certain nootropic compounds. And we're doing them with racetams, aphenols, bromontane, and a few other compounds. And that information will come out soon once, I fully have a grasp on what's going on and I can lay out the numbers for you. But I hope that makes sense. Thanks so much for listening. This has been awesome, and we'll do a lot more of this stuff moving forward. Remember, every shred of information we put on this channel is brought to you by a couple products. Right now, the Cortex stack. I mean, look, if you want a powerful pre-made stack that induces motivation, mental energy, verbal fluency, the drive to work, don't you just want to have the energy to sit down and do what it is you need to do? Look, you got to get a bottle of Cortex. Get 2, get 3, because it's 20% off right now using the coupon code 20 at livecortex.com. As we said in the beginning, ascending to the masterclass, that's the 6-year mark, and using nootropic from wherever you are, watch the video course, Nootropics Masterclass. You can get that at livecortex.com. That is also 20% off using the coupon code 20. If you're brand new, you got to go with Nootropics Ground Zero. Forget everything else. Just go there. Learn from the ground up to the 3-year level how to use nootropics. That is 20% off using the coupon code 20 at livecortex.com. Guys that want to race test, get the Viking Testosterone Protocol. The protocol really, really works. And a lot of guys email me saying, man, I've tried everything. I was going to go on TRT. Nothing else worked. No amount of Tribulus worked. Get the protocol 20% off also using coupon code 20 at livecortex.com. Last thing, look, if you're a business person, you need to get stuff done, especially now. If you need help with nootropics and boosting cognitive performance for what you need to do, you got to look into either the 1-month intensive nootropics consulting program, the 3.5-month intensive nootropics consulting program, or the 6-month. They also apply all of them to situations like PSSD or dopaminergic function from heavy Adderall use in the past. And for those, usually the 3.5-month or the 6-month, it gives us enough time to adequately fix the issue. Get all that stuff at livecortex.com. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you next time.